The story begins in space, where we find a girl aboard a spaceship, asking her teammate if they are in the right place. Her teammate responds that this is indeed the right place, and they have arrived at the desired planet, meaning they have reached the exact destination. At this point, we discover that this planet is Earth, and they are heading there in the spaceship. Meanwhile, we see one of the men looking at the planet in astonishment, as Earth has become saturated with radiation, and there is no trace of oxygen. Despite this, there is a highly dangerous and valuable criminal in that place, in addition to a team member, the Level Raiser from the Black Blood gang. And in the meantime, the man confirms her words, and she is absolutely right in what she says, but she feels like he is mocking her. They ask the young girl for her opinion on the matter, and she responds if he came here it would be for suicide. The oxygen saturation is at 23%, and the radiation pollution level is at 87%. It's truly perfect for death. After hearing these words, the girl wonders if it's even possible for a human to survive in this place, but the young girl tells them a first-degree radiation emitter and a high-capacity internal power engine that extends through certified rotors may allow them to survive for just 6 hours. The girl asks the man named Robert, "What will we do if we go there and find nothing? Are we risking our lives for nothing?" Naturally, he doesn't know how to answer her. She adds, "Anyway, if he isn't there, we'll be dead meat." He replies, but Sonia mentioned that a human life signal was detected beneath the surface. In just a few moments, they reach the required coordinates, and we learn that this place used to be called Mount Tai in the past. As soon as the girl sees the mountain, she is shocked by its appearance as it has changed drastically. We also learn that this mountain is the same place that the elders of the Martial Arts Alliance considered a mythical sanctuary. However, the girl tells them this place is just a dumping ground. It's clear she is very angry and says, "Why don't they clean up this place?" But her teammate replies, "They won't do anything that doesn't earn them money." At this moment, we learn that they have reached the required location, but there is nothing there. She asks them to check it out, but she tells them they are directly beneath us. At this point, she bends down and places something strange on the ground, which makes her teammate ask what she is doing. At that moment, the internal power engine is activated. The place begins to glow, but she says, "If I were buried at that depth, I would have suffocated long ago." In the meantime, she orders the system or the machine to open the entrance. In just a few moments, the entire place explodes. As she looks down, she is shocked by what she sees. But she asks Sonia if there are any signs of life. Sonia replies, "Yes, but they are very weak and there is a relatively large space underground." The man decides to bring a ladder to descend. But as soon as he prepares to speak to the girl, he finds that she has already jumped down. At that moment, he realizes that she is always quick to anger. A few moments later, he follows her down. Once at the bottom, they reach a giant gate in front of them. Upon arriving, they find strange writings on the gate that they cannot understand. The girl speaks to Sonia and asks her to translate them for them. At that moment, we learn that it is a very old language used around 2,000 years ago. Sonia tells them that it means, "Do not open if you do not wish to die." The man is frightened for his life, fearing death, but the girl tells him that the threat cannot be real. He responds, "It could be true. How do you know?" At that moment, the girl decides to proceed and says, "In any case, this is a very good sign. There must be something valuable inside." After opening the door, they enter and are shocked by what they see in front of them. A pile of hair is sitting at the top, and it's clear that it's a human sitting in that spot. The man realizes it seems like a human, but he doesn't finish his sentence before the girl advances and begins climbing toward it. She reaches and stands before it, while her scared colleague asks from a distance if it's alive. At that moment, she brings her finger closer to it and touches it. She is immediately surprised as a strange energy appears when her finger touches its nose. She is terrified as well, and the pile of hair completely transforms and a strange energy begins to emanate from it. The girl is bewildered and starts screaming, "What is happening here?" and uses one of her special skills to defend herself. Meanwhile, the place starts glowing yellow, and in just a few moments, a pillar of energy rises from beneath the area, even emerging from the earth. It almost hits their spaceship. The girl aboard the ship wonders what is happening, but it is clear that communication with them has been cut off. But at that moment, we see that the team leader has fallen to the ground, and it's clear that she's in a terrible state. After a few moments, she regains consciousness, but finds her colleague lying on the ground. At that moment, She notices that the pile of hair is approaching her, standing beside her. In addition, the man asks her who she is and says, "Who are you and how dare you wake me?" Naturally, she doesn't know how to respond, which makes him demand that she speak immediately. However, she doesn't understand his words, so she activates the instant translation mode. Meanwhile, the man decides that if she doesn't answer, he will kill her. She realizes that he is going to kill her now, which terrifies her. In that moment, she stands and uses one of her skills to defend herself, and it seems like she also intended to take him down. After several attacks, she begins to collapse, but still hasn't caused him any harm. At this point, the system tells her to recharge her internal energy, but the leader is shocked. Why is the man still unharmed? Then the man begins to speak, telling her, "This is the Golden Summit art of the Kwano sect and the Red Mist Palm technique. Even though these are martial arts from the Emi sect, they seem flawed, which indicates that you learned them through theft. In other words, you are just a grave-robbing thief." But only a few moments later, he uses one of his skills. As soon as the girl sees it, she is shocked by his power. Meanwhile, the man begins to float and says to her, "How dare a filthy thief disturb my slumber?" At this moment, the girl knows she's going to die, but just a few moments later, she is surprised by what happens as the pile of hair falls to the ground. She wonders what has just happened. At that moment, she hears a voice from behind saying, "He must be dead now." She turns to find her colleague, who tells her, "He was exposed to radiation without a protective shield, so naturally he would die." But even so, he held on for a very long time. At that moment, they hear their teammate saying that he is still alive and breathing normally. We learn that he collapsed due to a lack of energy, and while his body is in good condition, his stomach is empty. The girl is surprised by this, and they realize he lost consciousness because of hunger. At this point, the scene shifts to the spaceship, and it's clear that the man is very annoyed because the team leader brought him here, and they have also restrained him. At this moment, we know that her intentions are related to money, which is why she brought him with them. They are surprised by her words and wonder how they could make money from him. She tells them, "What is the most valuable cultural heritage today? We know that ancient martial arts become more expensive the closer they are to the original, and it's likely that this being is an ancient fighter from 2,000 years ago, specifically from that legendary period when martial arts were at their peak of development and strength. As everyone saw, this being is on a completely different level, at least at S rank or higher. They realize at this moment that they've hit the jackpot, but their companion is afraid that this being might wake up the same way again. Their leader reassures them, saying, "Don't worry, that heavenly silk thread used to repair spaceships can't even be cut by the Shaolin sect's master." She hadn't finished her sentence when she was shocked by what she saw, as the being easily broke free and said to them, "How dare you, you filthy thieves, bind me? I'll tear you apart now." At that moment, they were terrified by what they saw, especially when their teammate approached, carrying food for the being, which was a large piece of meat rolls. It was only a few moments before he started eating. They sat back watching him eat, but the leader asked the girl, "How did you know?" She replied, "He's been starving for a long time, and I knew the best thing for a hungry beast is sausages." After finishing the food, the being sat with them and realized they weren't grave robbers but bounty hunters who had stopped him by mistake. The man understood that this was the world after 2,000 years, and that humans had caused endless harm to each other and destroyed the world, deciding to live in the sky. But the leader told him that humans had decided not to use weapons except for martial arts, including nuclear weapons. He was surprised by her words, as he didn't know what nuclear weapons were, and wondered what era it was. She told him it was the year 1105 of the galactic calendar, and since humans now lived in the sky, the calendar had changed from Gregorian to galactic. At this point, he stood up and slammed the table, saying, "This is nonsense, you're deceiving me," because he thought they were just third-rate grave robbers. At that moment, they asked him to look outside, and as soon as he did, he was shocked by what he saw. The team leader said to him, "Look at that place, that's where you used to live." When he saw it, he was astonished and couldn't believe his eyes because the place was completely destroyed. The team leader approached him and said, "Anyway, after seeing this, do you believe us now?" In the meantime, a very bad smell emanates from that man. Since the team leader knows that he will stay with them for a very long time, they decide that he should take a bath quickly. In just a few moments, he is taken to the bathroom. But while he is inside, they order him to shave his hair. Naturally, he follows their orders and cuts it. However, Robert tells them that he fears something mummified might come out of him. As soon as he finishes, they are shocked by his appearance as he is a very handsome young man. As soon as he comes out to them, he asks if there is more of what he ate earlier. Literally, the team leader is embarrassed by his appearance. In just a few moments, their vehicle takes off at maximum speed. The hero goes outside to explore what is happening outside the galaxy. While he is examining more and more outside, that girl comes and interrupts him, asking about his age, and she does not mean the years he spent in hibernation. But in the meantime, they arrive at a planet called the Pleiades cluster, which had a tavern. As soon as they enter that place, the hero starts consuming a huge amount of food, which makes them wonder how a person can eat that much food. Meanwhile, the events shift to the owner of this tavern, and we find that the team leader is in that place negotiating the price regarding the hero. But he tells her how expensive it must be to become the burning devil in a state of panic. But she tells him how much a complete set of ancient combat manuscripts that are 2,000 years old would be worth, especially if they are all original and all of the 5th grade. As soon as he hears her words, he is shocked and does not know how to respond. According to one of the servants, if they are genuine, it is impossible to have a price. But the leader of this place, who is vigilant on this planet, surprises that servant with his words, but he confirms his words by measures of expelling them. That girl goes to the rest of the team and inquires where Sonia went. He tells her that she went for supplies. Additionally, he asks her how their conversation went. She tells him that he said he would contact them immediately when he finds a buyer. But the new problem is what is happening in front of her now, as it is impossible that he has eaten all this food. True, but he tells him that fortunately he has stopped now. In the meantime, the gate opens, and all the people in this place are surprised by the people who have arrived, and it is clear that they are people of high status. The team leader is astonished as soon as she sees them, and she also knows that they are from the heavenly demon sect. As soon as they enter, he starts looking around, and it is clear that they are searching for someone. We know that they specialize in tracking, so they must be chasing someone. But in the meantime, the hero stands up and says to them, "You mentioned the demon sect," and asks the team leader if it is the heavenly demon sect. She replies, "How do you know about the heavenly demon sect when you have been asleep for 2,000 years? But at this moment, he wonders why people are not running away from them. She tells him, "Why do they do that? The heavenly demon sect has its advantages." We know that before the hero's hibernation, he dreamed of joining that sect. As soon as he sees these men, he thinks his dream has come true. In the meantime, we see one of the men hiding in the corner, but their leader goes to him and says, "Look at me." At this moment, all his data appears in front of him, and after a few analyses he says, "Today is your lucky day, you are not the target." But at this moment, he is surprised because someone is placing their hand on his head, and we find that it is the hero. He says to her, "Amazing." Everyone in that place is astonished at how he has the courage to do that. Moreover, the hero hugs him. The man speaks, saying, "Does this child have mental problems?" But despite that, he allows him to do it. He tries to push her away, but she does not move at all. This makes him activate the blood demon wolf art and says to him, "Hey, stop messing around now." In just a few moments, he finds that he has disappeared in front of him and has gone with his colleagues. He wonders how he reached that place so quickly. But at this moment, he turns to the heroine and says, "Who are you?" But as soon as he reveals his identity, he does not know who he is because everything is uncertain in the data. But at this moment, the hero explains all his previous attacks and adds, "However, it is unfortunate that your inner energy and chi are not in harmony. It seems that your training method is very flawed." He approaches him and says, "So let me correct it for you personally." He does not care about his words and says to him, "You are really crazy," and uses one of his skills to attack him. He uses one of the strikes called the Red Wolf Strike, but the hero dodges it. Despite landing many attacks, they do not affect him. In just a few moments, the hero decides to end this matter. He grabs him by the head and slams him to the ground, saying to him, "It is very rude to interrupt me." With that simple move, he blows up the floor. Everyone is shocked at how he could do that to him. Additionally, the hero stands over him and says, "You have learned it well, but you learned it like a parrot. Martial arts are not just about imitation. They rely on adapting to them and making them your own." After finishing his explanation, he orders him to get up, but he cannot. This makes the rest of his team attack him as well. It is clear that they wanted to kill him, especially in the Heavenly Demon Sect Area 30. The news is conveyed to them that they have all been eliminated and taken to the emergency room. The leader of this place is silent, but astonished. This is unbelievable. But the doctor says, fortunately, they only suffered severe bruises and their lives are not in danger. He inquires whether this is just luck for him, as a mere stranger was able to put the Red Wolf faction of the sect in such a state. But in the meantime, he knows that he is not registered in their database, unlike his friends who were registered in the past. According to the information, they are a group of bounty hunters known as the Devil, and their leader is a girl named Syrian Jar. The Burning Devil is astonished by who she is, and he tells him that she is a well-known bounty hunter in both the traditional and non-traditional worlds. Additionally, they have left the place, but they can track them. But the leader of the place says, "Don't worry, I will handle them myself." That man asks for permission to leave and departs. In the meantime, he presses one of the green lights and suddenly a giant screen appears in front of him. We know that he is contacting someone and says to him, "Hello, it's been a long time." He wonders what his request is, and it is for his green group. Meanwhile, the events shift to the ship, and we find that the hero is ready to take another meal. The team is shocked at how he eats all this food and does not stop. That man says to the leader that she is scared just like he is, isn't she? She responds, "What are you talking about?" He approaches her and says that Sans and the Red Wolf faction are first-class martial artists, but this young man slapped them all to the ground with just one strike. She remembers the epic battle that took place in that place, but she tells those men, "If I fight them seriously, I might win too." But that man replies to her saying, "But that man hit them like flies." The captain finds the hero and slams the table saying, "No, let's talk now." He is surprised by the way she talks to him and says that he wants food first. She insists as well and sits in front of him saying, "Let's talk first." She directly asks him who he is and what his name is. Because they are scared, they bring sausages first and say to him, "The food is in front of you. Tell me your name now." But he looks at her with a very frightening look. However, that man says to her, "At least let him eat comfortably first." But in the meantime, he tells her that his name is Lee Mokjin. She replies, "What is your identity?" "Like your previous identity." Naturally, he does not know how to answer her, but despite that, she remains insistent for him to answer. He is forced to answer, and says to her that he is the heavenly demon, meaning the supreme heavenly demon. She is shocked at this moment and says to him, "Did you just say supreme?" She turns to them and says, "What is this nonsense? What are you talking about? Did this man feed us rotten sausages?" At this moment, the ship issues a warning because the target has been detected. We know that someone is targeting them and is very close to them. That girl starts running, as if she knew from the beginning that after defeating the Red Wolf faction, they would not leave them alone. But at this moment, she tells him that they are not the Heavenly Demon sect but the Green Forest. At this moment, the events shift to the enemy ship, and we know that the person inside is the leader of the Galaxy 72 section of the Green Forest, and his name is Kim Sung-bum. At this moment, someone comes to him and says, "Section leader, should we launch a round of electromagnetic pulses at them?" But he replies, "You said they are bounty hunters, right?" He replies, "Yes, and their leader is someone called the Burning Devil." But he is puzzled. Why is the Heavenly Demon sect targeting such a small temporal group? We know that the leader of the Heavenly Demon Guild offered a reward for capturing them. We know that this leader agreed to the reward, and to get the required reward, they must erase them from existence. After that conversation, Kim realizes that something is definitely happening. We know that the Heavenly Demon Guild is more skilled at taking souls than them, so they must have a reason for assigning him this specific task. This makes them suspect that there is a trap inside that ship. The two return to the hero's ship, thinking they were just bandits, but they were wondering what profit they would get from robbing such extremely poor people like them. The team leader says to them, "It doesn't matter if they block the way, we will defeat them." The blonde-haired girl says, "It's not that simple because they are part of the Galaxy 72 section, hanging in the Green Forest, and it seems that the entire section has been mobilized." She starts thinking and says, "If that man is in this place," and starts remembering his name. But at this moment, the hero looks outside and says to himself, "How wonderful." But the team leader says to them, "Okay, everyone follows orders now." She says to them, "As soon as they take what they want, they will leave us as we are. If a fight breaks out and things escalate, I can't guarantee anything." But the blonde-haired girl knows that they are preparing the photon cannon, As soon as she hears, the team leader is shocked. At this moment, they realize that they want to kill them. At this moment, Kim says, "No, fire at them when you are ready." The team leader tries to escape from this place, but they are surrounded on all sides. After hearing that, she now knows that they are as good as dead. The events shift to Kim's ship, and we know that the photon cannon is fully charged. Kim orders them to fire now. Naturally, everyone is scared because their end is near, but the hero is just watching from afar. Literally, there is no ship that hasn't fired at them. At this moment, Kim was watching from afar, but he is amazed at what he sees in front of him now, as the ship was not affected by their fire. In just a few moments, it emerges from the flames. We find that someone has intervened now. The team leader is shocked by who this girl is, but Kim knows that she is the 8-foot combat ghost named Elena.